Hey, everybody, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm really excited to have a very special guest for you, Mr. David Perdew. David, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Jim. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I wore my special hat for you, by the way.
What does it say on it?
It's the Alabama elephant, but I thought you'd wear a hat. I'm going to wear a hat.
That's right. So we all wear hats and we still have hair. So today we've got a great presentation for you. David is going to be talking about 12 steps to building a better business. He's also going to give it to you straight as far as what is working, what is not working, what you need to be aware of, myths that you need to stop believing if you want to start getting traction, and a whole lot of other important issues. I've known David now for a number of years. David actually stalked me years ago. I'm just playing, but he and I met briefly through email, but then didn't meet in person until like 10 years later.
That's right.
And so he's a great guy, has become a very good friend. For those of you that don't know, he is the founder of MyNAMS, which has morphed over the years, but it's an organization that's all about helping individuals to get started online with both their own products and also with affiliate offers, list building, and all the things you need to know to get your business off the ground. So with no further ado, David, take it away.
Well, thank you, Jim, and it is a real honor to be here with you. You know how much I love you and I've watched you forever, because ever since I came online, you were one of the first guys that I started following. And I tell the story often that when I created my very first product, I sent Jim an email, and I've always been a teacher of sorts, by the way. So, and it's always been an over-the-shoulder, watch me make mistakes kind of teaching, because I find that to be really valuable to folks. So when I started online, I was going to create an ebook, and like everybody else who creates their first ebook, I thought I was going to create this ebook and then retire, which, I bought Jim's 7-day ebook system, and I sent him an email and said, Mr. Edwards, would you mind if I sell this to other people and use this as our text? And Jim, being the great product creator and affiliate marketer, said, of course. And so I was able to use that as our text for our first product about 11, 12 years ago. So that was a long time ago. And I still have that and still use that. And I know you still sell that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so we're going to get into that as well today, because we're going to talk about a little bit of the passive income stuff to make sure that we get people into the mind frame of recurring income, because that's part of what we're going to talk about today as one of the 12 steps that we get into. The controversy part, though, let's just get that out of the way, Jim. One of the things that I do from the that I focus on is selling stuff that matters to people, and I cannot stand it when people sell stuff that just basically extracts money for blinking doodads. Can't stand it. And so I started I had a rant, basically is what I did. I had a rant on Facebook, and I said, I'm starting a new hashtag, and it's hashtag sell no crap, because I really believe that there's probably less than 100 people out there in the internet marketing world that I trust and will buy from. And luckily, I know a lot of them, and I work with a lot of them, and I love that. The kind of integrity that they have, and like I told you before we got on here, Jim, you're at the top of that list. One of the reasons is because you create products that last a long time. It's that evergreen model that you do. And I know you taught about that at NAMS for us, and I really appreciated that too. Just for, the evergreen model has served you really well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always thought if you're going to make something that you can sell for a long time, instead of making a product that's only going to be good for a month or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think people do the big launch model stuff. I know that I'll piss some people off by saying that, but if you look at most products that are sold via a launch, they sell it as the launch model, because they know as soon as everybody gets their hands on it, it's either not going to work or it's only going to work for a short period of time and they need to suck the money out of the world quickly. And that's why they do it that way. So
yeah, and to that point, you know, I know you do the launch stuff occasionally. I do the launch stuff occasionally, and the difference in the mindset is we sold a plugin that we created and had used for about 4 years in our own system for our video players, because I was never satisfied with the video players that were out there and the video management system. So we sold this in March, I think. We launched it in March, and when we launched it, it was version 3.3 that we launched. So we've been using it that long, and we use all of our own stuff so that we make sure that it always works. Well, this week we updated it and released version 6.4. So, you know, that's a clue to people. If people are not updating the stuff that they sell you, even if you have to buy the upgrades, if they're not updating the stuff that they sell you, and by the way, you don't with us, but if they're not upgrading the stuff they buy you, they're in it to get your money. They're not in it to provide you with service and utility. And to me, that's the difference between flash in the pan and building a business. And to me, that's what we're trying to do here, is focus on building the business. So Jim, I'm going to jump into this and get started before we get too far off the track with the rant.
Okay.
All right. So I was in the newspaper business for many years, and I know that you wrote a column for many years. Are you still writing that column, by the way?
No, I wrote it for 10 years, and then I was done. I'd done my time.
Yeah, well, I did my time for 17 years in the newspaper business as an editor and a publisher. And this is a graph of newspapers' ad sales since 1950. And look at the growth there from 50 to about 2000. Now, in 75, I was a student at Indiana University Journalism School, 75, 76, 77. We were talking about digital business then and where it was going and what it was doing. And everybody said, oh, it's coming. It's going to change the world. It's going to change newspapers as we know it. And we knew it was going to change newspapers as we know it. Newspapers did not adapt. What they did was, everybody thinks a newspaper is a subscription-based business, and about 5 to 10% of the income for a newspaper is subscription-based business. They focused on advertising sales as the money-making base for a newspaper, and when they did that, you have to realize that advertising sales is a one-off sale. Even if they buy a series of ads, it's still a one-off sale. It's not recurring income. And so newspapers were not positioned to take advantage of recurring income. So as the internet world changed, they had no way to adapt to this. That's the reason newspapers are dying today. And they're trying desperately to adapt to that. And some are succeeding, most are not. So you can see the advertising drop off here about 2013 there. AT&T, on the other hand, is a company that I consulted for 17 years in some form. I started with them when they were a Bell South Mobility. I walked in the door of AT&T, and about that time, they had about 50 million, 70 million customers when I left them as a consulting firm in late 2009, 10, around in there. And when I was working with those guys and I got involved in internet marketing in about 2006, the first thing I realized was they were the world's largest membership site. I mean, when you think about it, it is a perfect membership model. It's a 2-year contract. You're going to pay so much every month, and that's your base income. You can pay more than that, but it's an incredible membership model. Then they figured out that they could charge you for additional stuff as a membership. They just add it to your bill. So we were, at one point, I was paying for a GPS mapping system, $9 a month. They added that. I was paying for ringtones, $4 a month. They added that. So they continue to add to your bill, and it's a recurring model. So this week, AT&T announced they're buying Time Warner, and if it goes through, of course. And Time Warner owns companies like CNN, Turner Broadcasting, TBS, Bleacher Report, a lot of sporting content. But the real reason AT&T jumped on this is that It also owns HBO. 130 million users paying an average of $15 a month. It is a massive recurring income opportunity. $80 billion they're going to pay for Time Warner. And that is $80 to $100 billion. And that's an amazing opportunity for them to actually double their base with recurring income. Did you see that, Jim, when it happened?
Yeah, I did. And it's such a powerful conglomeration of people and the ability to sell people that the government is saying not so fast. We
Exactly.
need to hold some hearings on this. But the other thing to understand from that is that when you have people that are paying monthly, it's a lot easier to get somebody who's already paying monthly to upgrade, like you said, to pay more monthly or to buy another monthly subscription, because these are obviously buyers of subscription services. That's another reason why it's so valuable.
That's exactly right. So we're going to get into the 12 steps to building a better business in just a second, and this recurring income is one of those, and we're going to focus on that today quite a bit. But I wanted to tell you first why I'm qualified to talk about this. NAMS Inc. is Novice to Advanced Marketing System, and I've been doing this since 2005. Like I said, the first thing I did was an ebook, and I used Jim's system to build that. I've been a niche marketer and affiliate marketer for many, many years, and I've done a ton of live and virtual events. We had the NAMS workshop. You might have heard of the NAMS workshop. If you've ever heard of the NAMS workshop, you could type in the chat box. I'd love to hear if you've ever attended the NAMS workshop or if you've even heard of it. Just type in the chat box, yes. And if you remember when you attended it, put that in there as well. I'd love to hear that. And we've done about 300 virtual. Well, I've done about 150 online presentations and about 100 virtual events online as well. So we have got a lot of experience with the online version of workshops, basically. We've incorporated about 135 instructors into our system, and we have over, thousands of students have gone through the system as well. And MyNAMS is our membership site where we get people involved in how to do this over and over. So, all right. So what I want to know from you, and I want you to type in the chat box, where are you in your business right now? A, haven't started yet. B, got a site and making a few sales. C, making pretty good money already. So A, B, C. A, haven't started yet. B, got a site and making a few sales. C, making pretty good money already. Good, people are doing that. They're typing in already. So we've got Sandy is A, Brian B, Joe is B, Susan A, Eric from Eric. Eric is A, Ann is B. So we got a lot of folks in here who are in beginning to medium stages of their business. So that's good because that helps me understand where you are and what we can talk to as we go forward. This 12 steps is really good for you folks. So it's really going to help you get started. So what's the most troubling area right now for you to get started with? What's the most troubling area in your business right now to get started with? Type that in the chat box too if you don't mind. It'll take just a couple of seconds. Just use one sentence if you don't mind. What's the most troubling area in your business right now? Rob says product. I assume that Rob means creating a product. So let's see. Yes, he does. Eric says business plan. Do I need a business plan, and how do I start doing a business plan? Ginger says focus and technical responsibilities. Joe says traffic. Paul says focus. Everybody's coming up with focus here. That's great. I love that. Daily actions and product creation, getting the word out and targeting from Brian. Excellent. Good. Okay, good. That gives me an idea of where everybody is. And guess what? Those are pretty much the same problems that everybody has when they are building their business. I don't care if you're just starting out or you have been very successful with your business. Focus can still be an issue. And creating and traffic, getting the word out, all these are the problems that we all have, and doing the right things, the right actions, the right product creation pieces. That's very common for all of us. So what are the steps to building a better business? These are the 12 that I come up with through our experience. The first is understanding your why. the best kept secret, in my opinion, of all successful online business people is understanding what your big why is, what your purpose is. The second is passion or money. This is the big debate. Should you do passion? Should you be passionate about your business, do a business about your passion, or should you just focus on money? I say do both, because I want you to enjoy your business for many years. How to stay focused on your one thing. So this addresses some of the concerns coming in from those folks. I think it's incredibly important to understand what your one thing is and how to stay focused on it. 4 is recurring income. I say that recurring income is the only business strategy that really matters, because if you are focused on recurring income, you can just build on top of what you had yesterday to build growth for tomorrow. So that's really the key to building a base. Now, these ones that are red are the ones we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about step 1 and step 4 today. Step 5 is why your business relationships are key to your success. Jim's an example of this right now. We've done several things together, and he's taught at my workshop. And I rely on Jim. I feel like I could call Jim and say, you know, I've got this big problem. What do you think? And he may tell me to go fly a kite, or he may say, you know, this is my experience. And as you build relationships with people, that's what happens, and you start also promoting one another. So that's helpful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 is make money today with affiliate marketing. Notice I have not talked about product creation yet. To me, you want to make money as fast as possible to fund your business creation. And you can do that through affiliate marketing. 7 is traffic is the backbone of your business, but how do you get it? So we focus on step 7, creating traffic. Step 8 is getting conversions. If you got traffic and no conversions, and you're not watching your conversions, then you are in serious trouble. You could be spending a lot of money and making a lot of mistakes with that. And step 9 is tracking everything. You want to make sure that you are tracking everything and knowing where your customers are responding, what their best product, what your best products are with them, all of the kind of information that you need to be able to grow your business in the right directions with tracking. Step 10 is, so if it's working, you're making some money, what do you do next? And there's some things that you want to do next that are pretty simple, but a lot of folks just go in a completely different direction and think they've got to reinvent the wheel here. We don't want to do that. You want to do easy stuff next and make more money. 11 is product creation. This is where everybody thinks that they need to focus immediately. And I'm saying don't do that. Jim, you probably agree with, I hope you agree with this. Product creation is pretty easy once you've got your business running.
It's the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing you can do once you know what to do and how to do it. And it's where most people focus way too much time instead of on the other things you're talking about. You know, the product's the easy part once you know what to do.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And I love creating products. But the thing that we have to make sure that we're doing first is marketing and selling. And we're going to get to that quite a bit. So, and number 12 then is, once you're creating products, is finding those partners for win-win promotions. And that is, to me, the joint venture piece of the whole thing. So we're going to jump into step 1 and look at the why. And like I said, I think this is the most overlooked step and the most important step in the entire process, because if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, it becomes a real drag on you. And that is, I mean, it'll just wear you out. It'll absolutely wear you out trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. We want to make sure that you're doing what's the right thing for you. And Jim, this is something else we should talk about, because the right thing for you is definitely not the right thing for me, right? We have to do what's right for each of us individually.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's how we're not all operating the exact same identical business. I mean, your personality and your own individual reasons for why you're doing what you're doing is what makes your business distinct from every other business in the world. And in the end, that's what you're actually selling, is you.
Yeah, and this is where that rant comes back in, because everybody wants to do a copycat. And they want to use, like, I can't use Jim's recipe to build my business. He can sell me his recipe and say, you need to modify this recipe. But I can't copy his recipe because it's not going to work for me. He can do the,
Right.
I can modify. That's what you want to do, is get you want to focus on modifying, but first you got to figure out who you are. I mean, if you don't know who you are, you don't know why you're going to do what you're doing at all. And you'll always find that you're doing the wrong thing. And I've even known people who have made a ton of money online and are incredibly unhappy because they're doing the wrong thing. We have a program in our system called Clarity Coaching, or Camp Clarity, where we go through this process to help people identify this part of their makeup, and it's the why, the big purpose of their being online. And I actually had a woman who had an established business she'd been working in for 9 years, and she was just miserable with it, and it was making her money. And in the middle of this program, she said, I had basically identified that that's not what she wants to do, thinking that she might migrate slowly into the other thing that we'd identified that she did want to do. But she killed her business and started immediately on the new thing. She was so over it. And, you know, it scared me to death, but I had to applaud her because she was so committed to doing something that made her happy. So that's really good. Now, and what I just described is what I like to call divine discontent. This is Brian Tracy, and this is what he says about divine discontent. Divine discontent is always comes before a positive life change. In other words, if you're feeling a little miserable, or if you're feeling like you are dissatisfied, pay attention. Because he says if you were perfectly satisfied, you would never take any action to improve or change your circumstances. Only when you're dissatisfied for some reason do you have the inner motivation to engage in the outer behaviors that lead you onward and upward. So no matter where you are in your business, no matter what your level of success is, I believe that you're going to come to a place where you're saying, well, I'm just not satisfied with this piece of it, so I want to make a change. If you're making millions of dollars, that's still divine discontent. We still go through that process. If you're trying to transition from the corporate world into an online business, that's divine discontent. You've got a reason for that. And the reason I call it divine is because it comes from your internal belief system. That's what's driving you here. Okay, so looky there. Who's on the stage at NAMS?
Some weird guy.
Mr. Jim Edwards. And I believe you were knocking the room out there with your talk that you did for us about evergreen products. I loved that. That was a big aha for a lot of people. And look at this woman down here. She's absolutely enamored.
I think she saw my fly was down, and she was like, oh my gosh. That's why Jeff's laughing.
That could be it. Yeah, Jeff's just cracking up. That's Jeff just cracking up right here. So the reason I have this here is because I want to tell you a quick story about my why, and Jim plays a big part in this. When we were creating NAMS 14, and I'd been talking to Jim for a couple of years about coming to speak at the NAMS workshop, and there was a couple of hundred people, and Jim wanted to do it. He was always gracious about doing it, and I told him this was going to be the last NAMS workshop that I was putting on, and Jim basically told me, you're crazy. You have a really good brand. And why would you stop doing this workshop? Because you've got such a good brand, and it is successful. And you're basically putting a knife in the heart of something that is successful. You're crazy. And I said, yeah, but you know, there's all this other stuff that's influencing me. And I was stammering around a little bit. And he said to me, is this something your wife wants you to do? And I said,
what I said was, is this something your wife is sick of doing?
That's exactly what you said, actually.
Is this something your wife's sick of doing and helping you do behind the scenes?
And I said, absolutely. And it's the stress on her and the stress on me of doing this workshop is way too overwhelming. And it was a successful workshop. But what I had identified was my big why was to spend more time with my wife. I've got a woman in my life that I absolutely love being with. We have a lot of fun. We share a lot of beliefs. We share a love of football. We share a love of the beach. We share a love of travel. And I know, Jim, you're in the same shape. Mm-hmm. So when it came to deciding what I wanted to do with my business, it had to support this relationship. It had to support our travel habit. It had to support our belief in peace and serenity and well-being and all of that. And the workshop wasn't doing that. And when I explained that to Jim, he was like, oh, okay, because he completely got it.
Yep.
So this is my why. I want more of this. That's the ultimate why. Now you're going to go through, and I want you to take 30 seconds here to write in the chat box what your why is. So type into the chat box your why. What's your big why? I'm going to give you a couple of seconds here.
But it's funny you said that, because that's the big reason why we stopped doing the gym boat. We did, you know, for 7 years, every year we did a cruise, and that was a lot of work. And my wife was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And she said it forcefully enough that I had to take her seriously. So we had to change our whole business model, because our whole thing was we got everybody to go on the gym boat, and then I got everybody who went on the gym boat to go into a high dollar coaching program. And that was the bedrock of our business for 7 years. And then when we didn't have that anymore, we didn't have the opportunity to get, so we had to change everything. If you look at where my business is now, as opposed to where it used to be, I mean, our main thing we do now is software.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't have seen that coming 6 years ago.
Well, and you told me once that you switched over from the high dollar coaching because it wasn't fulfilling for you.
Right.
No longer, right?
Exactly.
So you were driven by your why.
I was driven by my wife. So
yeah, by your wife. That's the same thing in my life. That's my why. So Eric says to make an income while I'm unemployed, perhaps even to replace employment. Joe says she wants a nice home and to play with her dog. Sandy says retire my husband from a 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. job and enjoy family time more. Annie says freedom to travel, get things I need, want without worry. Ryan says love making my own schedule while seeing people benefit from my skills. Great. Ginger says she loves software, so she wants to be doing more software, I guess. Susan says freedom to choose when and where and be in charge. Carolyn says this is great software. I don't know what that means, Carolyn. Either
she might have been telling me she likes my software.
I think she's saying Jim's is great software. Rob is saying to have a constant flow of funds to do other things. Yep, okay. And Susan says, I've talked about it for years. I'm 62 and now is the time to succeed at writing, teaching, speaking. I have to learn how to make this happen in my life now, or it may never happen. Thanks, Carolyn. That was confirmation, Jim. Your software is great, is what she was saying. JQ says, I don't know what my why is yet. Money would be nice and security for the future. Okay, so JQ is the one I want to talk to. Everybody else, you got your whys going. That's great. JQ, this is really interesting because there's a lot of people who don't know this, Jim. And I find more and more that the people who don't know this are the ones who just need a little bit of a nudge, because it's there. It's always there. And it's been there for a long time. We just have to uncover it. And so this is one of the guys that I love. This is Simon Sinek. Do you know Simon Sinek, Jim? Have you ever watched his TED Talk?
No.
Yeah, this is the second most viewed TED Talk in all of the TED Talks. And it was a 19-minute talk out of Portland, out of Vancouver, I think it was. So it wasn't even on the big stage. And he's become incredibly popular because he focuses on this why piece. And this is his big saying that I love. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So it is all about relationship. It's about identifying with people who have the same beliefs as you, making that community that really gets you and understands you, and that you build a natural, attractive relationship with your buyers. So those people who understand why you do it, they're going to jump right in. So you have to know first why you do it. That's the real key to this whole thing. So how do we know what the why is? Well, we've got a program, like I said, for understanding all of this, but these are just a couple of the questions that you have to ask. What do I crave? I crave relationships with my wife. I crave a relationship with my wife and my family. I crave traveling. I love adventure. I love photography, and I love motorcycles. So, you know, all of those things are, if I'm doing all of those things, I'm living my why, pretty much. Notice I didn't say that I loved money, or that I loved customers, or that I loved vendors, or I loved partners. Those are not part of my why. They are part of the thing that helps me fulfill that. And that's what helps me achieve this why, is time with my wife, better health, better business, including the relationships that we build, the products that we sell. Money helps me achieve that. Money is energy. It is the supporting. If I don't have the money that I need, then I can't do the things on the left that are so important to me. Confidence is huge. If I don't have the confidence to be able to do what I need to do, then I'm not going to make the money. So you got to be able to build your confidence as you go, and you have to focus on those little steps along the way that help you build that confidence. And of course, creating the experience along the way is what it's all about as well. So does this make sense, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely. My thing has always been, if I have a really strong why, then, and a lot of times my why is a lot of things similar to what you have, but then the big thing is that money is the result of creating value. And so the more value I create, the more money I receive. So that's always been my thought. So your why can't be the money, because then you're just going to get pissed off at some point, and the money just won't be enough. It won't be fulfilling. You'll put out a whole lot of effort, and then you'll just feel empty because the money isn't what you're after, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Money is the product, the byproduct, the result. I love that.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to look at step 4 because it deals with that money. Money is an important base to what you want to do, but it is not your why. It should not be your why. So what we want to focus on is this recurring income. And this, our friend Matt Basak says, if it does not recur, it does not occur. So if it does not recur, it does not occur. You're in the recurring income business. That's what you need to be focused on from the beginning. And you're building this base brick by brick. So more money is made with simple than complicated every time. So we want to keep this as simple as possible and build as much recurring as possible. So why is recurring income so important? Well, if you build on top of yesterday's income, if you're always growing because of the income that is coming in yesterday, stays consistent, and you continue to build on top of that, then what you're going to end up with is this amazing opportunity at the end. And I love this picture because it shows the work that goes into building income. And then when you get to a level where it's working for you, you've got a window or a door that you can go through because you now have the opportunity. You now have the money. You now have the people, the relationships. It's all about the opportunity. And that's what recurring income helps you with. That's the reason this is step 4 in our system. Now, we use something called the passive income evaluation test in our system. I've taught this, and some of you gotten a report that talks about this a little bit in that report. And it's 5 elements that we focus on. And we go into a lot more detail in the report and in the teaching that we do around this. But the 5 elements are lifetime database referrals. So what we do is reward people forever for introductions today. So for example, Jim sent a lot of people to our registration page for this webinar. If any of those people purchase any product in the future, Jim gets a commission from that. That's recurring income. That's recurring income from a lifetime referral. Plenty of products. The second thing is plenty of products. You want to make sure that people have lifetime referrals to a lot of products, that they have a lot of products in their system. A lifetime referral to one product means you're going to sell it one time and you're only going to get 1 commission. But if you got 50 products, your opportunities to get more money through that process is really good. So consumable products are best. That's something that has to be replenished. And so that's a really nice little boost that you get as well. The third thing is you want to make sure these are very high quality products, because that means low refunds. When you're selling other people's products or your own products, your refund rate reflects your reputation, and your reputation is all important to you. So if I'm dealing with somebody who has a 15, 25, 35, 45% refund rate, then I'm not servicing my my customers at all. So I really look at refund rates to make sure that the people I deal with are at a lower than 5% refund rate. 5% and below means that people have made a mistake, or it just wasn't right for them, or whatever it is. It doesn't reflect on the product to me. Great product sales funnels. So you want to make sure that the people you deal with have good sales funnels, that it's good upsells, good downsells, the opportunity to make additional money from additional opportunities. And it can be immediate or through an autoresponder system or whatever. But once you get people into the system, then you want to be able to make more money with them. And the last one is knowing your numbers. Analytics reveal what works and what doesn't work, and analytics gives you the pathway to scalability. And I'm going to show you some more about that in just a few minutes as well. But I'm going to give you an example of somebody who I started with in 2013 and started promoting them in 2013 in a lifetime referral program. And it was a membership site, and it was a lifetime referral program. So we started with 0 referrals and 0 commissions. And the gray is the unique clicks that I put into the system, and the blue is the commission that I got from those folks. So you can see right away I put in over 800 people in to their system. And I call this diversified list building, by the way, because what I'm doing is building a list that I own in somebody else's system so that nobody else is going to get commissions from that, because I'm tagged, hard-coded basically in that system as the referral in that system. So notice I didn't promote then for a couple of months here afterwards, but the commission kept coming in. And then when I promoted a little bit more, the reward is even greater afterwards. So the commissions keep coming in. And then I had a peak, of course. The more I promote, the more I'm going to peak. But there are times when I don't promote at all. And toward the end of this period, this was 2014, toward the end of this period, I didn't promote at all for a few months. And I was with a final commission amount in that system that just automatically rose and kept coming for those months. And I was getting anywhere from, what is that, about $400, $450 to $930 a month without doing much work. That's passive income. I love those kind of things. Don't you, Jim?
Sure, yeah. My goal is always to put a 0 on the end of all those things.
Absolutely. Zeros are great. We like zeros on the end of those. So here's the 5 areas that we look at for where you might have assets or an opportunity to sell into recurring income opportunities. So the point is to find out what your assets are, what kind of things that you can use in your system to build that recurring income. And then you have to do a little bit of work, and then you start building the passive income, and that helps you build the freedom that you're looking for. So the lifetime tagging to me is the first thing. In the lifetime tagging, if you can't get the lifetime tagging, I like the lifetime cookies. Those will expire, not expire, but get overwritten by somebody else. If somebody else clicks on those, but you still get a longer term commission in those than you do in lifetime tagging. I like licensing products. So we have different licenses that we do for different plug-in systems, or that we could sell private label rights products, or I was a photographer for many years, so I have 20,000 images and on my hard drive here of my own, and I've licensed those images, or about 1,000 of those images, to other people as royalty-free images, and I can sell those over and over, and that's a licensed product that brings in passive income. The next thing is coaching, and I particularly like group coaching, where you do the coaching once and you sell it over and over. That's a place where you can do passive income. You just do a promotion to it, and there it is. When you're doing investing, you want to invest in your own business first, because that's where you get your biggest return, is in your own business. Now, one of the things I didn't do was, I like real estate as well, and I've got stock market activity. But I like real estate because real estate gives you, if you've got the right real estate and you've done your research well, you can do a pretty good job of driving some positive cash flow with real estate. I've always done well with real estate that way. Jim, your background's real estate, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Even in the last 4 or 5 years, we've done over 60 real estate transactions.
So are you buying and flipping, or are you buying and rental?
All of it is either buying and holding land or flipping.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't do rentals. I don't give a crap about your water heater, about your heater, about your plumbing. Don't call me. I don't want to know. And I hate realtors. So it's kind of hard for me to be in the rental business. Sorry, being real.
So like I said, it's all personality based. You got to know your why. Isn't that right?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so selling products, selling info is big. You've sold a lot of info over the years. I'm selling a lot of info, and info can be resold and repackaged and resold and repackaged. So it's a great way for you to create recurring income. And of course, membership sites. Great way to build recurring base income. If you've got your own membership sites, you have 100 people in this month, you get 50 people next month, you've got a new base. You just keep building a higher base with membership sites. Network marketing. There's a lot of folks who don't do network marketing. I was one of those who never ever did network marketing, but a couple of years ago I got started with something I love called Isogenics, and it's a nutrition product, and I started using it. My wife loves it, and so now we do a little bit of that. We get like 10 grand a year with just very little effort coming in from this network marketing stuff. And I believe the right company, and I think this is the right company, in a network marketing organization is pretty much like affiliate marketing with lifetime referrals. So I'm not a proponent of a ton of network marketing things, but the right one, and just one maybe, is a good opportunity for you to get started with some passive income there. And then of course, if you can drive traffic and you can focus on advertising, you are never going to starve. Understanding how to drive traffic and build a list and create great lead gens and swap that traffic over to affiliate products or partner products or whatever it is, gives you the opportunity to scale and build better ROI per lead or per customer. So that's a really great thing that you want to do, is focus on the ability to drive traffic into advertising opportunities. Okay. So in the recurring model, the first thing you start with is a sales page. The second thing is a confirmation page, and the third thing is a download page. These three things are really the building blocks of any stream of income. And what I don't say is that they have to be yours. They can be other people's sales pages, confirmation pages, and download pages. That's called affiliate marketing. And I call this from start to profit, because you want to focus on one line of business and get it right. You want to make money with one before you go to another. At one point, I had over 1,000 websites, and I would say probably 50 of them were making me money. And that was insane, to continue to build out websites and not make them profitable. And I got lucky and just sold the whole thing, got done with it, because I realized how insane that was. And the less you do sometimes, the more you're going to make. So really focus on getting one complete, one right. When you do that and you focus on being able to get that one working, and you start seeing the power of automation, then you can really scale. And scaling that recurring income stuff is so important. That's the beauty of recurring income, is the ability to scale it. So let's see, I wanted to make, yeah, this is the slide I wanted to show you. So now you've got the one that's working with the sales page, confirmation, download page. Then you start adding additional streams of income. And to me, that's where it gets exciting, because when you have 10 streams of income, if one goes down, you've got 10% that's gone away, not 100%. And the key is to do them one at a time, continue to making money with each one of those, so that you're building that base. Now, I talk about this concept a lot, which is the marketing layer and the delivery layer. And to me, people get this backwards. I did for a long time. I focused on the delivery layer, building the products, building the pieces of the products. You know, like I've got a $4.97 product, and it's got a $97 component and a $17 component. And so I focused on the delivery layer down here and building out a lot of products. The marketing layer is where the money is. You want to focus on the sales pages, the blog posts, the books, the podcasts, the advertising. About 80% of your effort should be in the marketing, not in the delivery. But when you get this down up here and you start really understanding the marketing layer piece of this, then you can scale it by adding more pieces to the delivery layer. Now, the delivery layer is like the guts of your system, the infrastructure, all of that. And it doesn't have to be your infrastructure. It can be a partner's infrastructure. You can rely on your partners to do the delivery for you. You don't ever have to have your own product at all to make a lot of money. You can still make a lot of money by selling other people's products and building your list along the way. So your job is list building, traffic generation, tweaking conversions, and tracking your numbers, and being able to keep that pipeline filled. So remember, we went through all of the steps, the 12 steps in the beginning. The last two, we talked about product creation at step 11, and we talked about joint venture marketing as step 12 of this entire process. And you'll get that. You can actually go through and download. We'll have a download opportunity for you to download the 12 steps. I think, Jen, we have a sheet that you can put in their download in the chat, so that they can download that 12 steps for you as kind of a checklist. But your deal is going to be making sure that you focus on selling and marketing. That's what you've been learning through this step process until you get to 11 and 12. You've become a good marketer in learning how to sell products. Jim, I don't know about you, but that was the part that was missing for me for so long, until I realized that I had to flip what I was doing and focus on the selling and the marketing. I had 550 products at one time and was, barely making it because we didn't sell them. We were just building them.
Yeah, you need to see yourself as a marketer who can create product, not a product creator who has to do marketing.
That's right. That's right.
You change your identity, that's when you'll start making serious money.
So now we're going to get into something that I'm going to show you that I'm going to offer you today, if that's okay. I want to, Jim, I've got a really good program, a couple of really good programs, and I think I'm going to actually blow people away with the ability to give them the kind of training that they're looking for here to get through these 12 steps and additional material in our system. If people don't know about NAMS, I'm going to tell them a little bit about the NAMS system in the end here, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So what's the catch here about those 12 steps is they are simple, right? The 12 steps seem incredibly simple. And you go through those and you think, well, there's got to be more to it than this. Well, of course there is. There's all the stuff that you got to learn. You've got to learn things like business operations. You've got to learn about publishing. You got to learn about email marketing and passive income and product creation. And we have all of this in our MyNAMS Insiders Club system that is that people can learn. We have about 30 training products in there. We have 12 monthly challenges, and we call those our challenges. It's a 30-day challenge, and there's 30 daily tasks in these challenges, 30 days of tasks in these challenges, and they're videos, so you can watch a 2 to 8 minute video. So they're very simple, easy to do in these challenges, and you can go through a month of list building, for example, and really focus on doing what you need to do to start building your list. Or go through the passive income challenge and really focus on what you need to do to create passive income. Or traffic. Each of the videos are short, focused on a single task that you can get through. We have weekly Q&A calls on Thursdays. We have a private Facebook group and special member discounts for those insiders. Now, the insiders also includes 30 micro workshops. Now, we call it a micro workshop because it's not a weekend or it's a virtual deal, but it is basically a 2-hour discovery session about a specific topic. So, for example, we did one on storytelling, and it's one of our most popular. And we did 2 hours on storytelling and how to tell good persuasive stories using templates and what the process was. And then we did 2 hours of implementation after that. So we follow our discovery session with an implementation session to help people actually do what we've just taught. That's our micro workshop. When we have custom tutorials that we build out to help you figure out how to use the tools that you need to use, like Camtasia or Google Apps or those kind of things. And these are tutorials that we've created in our system. And we call these lessons in less than 3 minutes, because each video is less than 3 minutes and it's focused on one task in a set. So they can be anywhere from 10 to 30 videos per topic. Then we have these 1,300 technical tutorials that people can go to. If you don't know anything about FTP, you don't know how to do DNS or change your DNS or get into your hosting systems or set up your email on your iPad or your Apple phone or use Gmail or whatever it is, we've got tutorials in there that walk you through the process. Like I said, we have the private Facebook group, we have the membership, member JV group, the monthly PLR articles, an audio gallery, a graphics gallery, and an assessment to help figure out where you are right now. So then, I want to show you this NAMS Insiders Club is $9.97. It's an annual price, $9.97. But of course, not going to pay that today. You're going to pay $2.97 for the Insiders Club. But there's a lot more here that I want to show you that we're throwing into this bundle. And if people want to go to this link, they're going to see what we have at that bundle. It's nams.ws/JE inside. JE inside. nams.ws/JE inside. We are in the process of doing 12 weeks to building a better business. We're halfway through this entire thing, and it's a weekly session that we're doing. My plan is to have this done by the second week of, well, actually by Thanksgiving, we'll have this completely done, walking through each one of these steps and helping people understand how to accomplish each of those steps in their system. We're selling that for $9.97. It's Insiders exclusive only now. You're not going to pay that. Sales funnel leverage, 4 weeks to a profitable sales funnel. If you don't know about sales funnels, these are the things that make you money. So we want to make sure that you focus on strategic funnels. We want to make sure that you focus on product funnels, how to create a product funnel that will work for you. We've got 3 ways to fix your funnel so it works 24/7 and you don't have to. And Module 4 is the complete strategy plus tactics to create more profit in the system. That's $197. You don't pay that. Creating your brand with Photoshop. I take one picture. I'm pretty good with Photoshop because I was a photographer for many years. I take one picture and I show people how to use that picture in their entire branding process. So we walk you through Photoshop and show you how to understand the building blocks in Photoshop, how to remove the background from an image, how to make a great first impression with a classy product cover, how to create a beautiful Facebook business page header from a template, make a Facebook ad graphic, create an optimized blog post, adapt that image for Instagram with informational quotes, make a video splash page to use a custom thumbnail on YouTube. That's with Photoshop. All done with one image, and I show you exactly how to do all those things, $97. By the way, Photoshop is so cheap and such an essential tool these days. It's less than $10 a month from Adobe now. So it's an amazing tool, and it's really easy to use once you understand the building blocks. You don't pay the $97. We've got something called an opt-in funnel creation course, Module 1. Let's get started with the course layout. Module 2, creating cover graphics. Module 3 is branding color templates. Now this is, to me, I want to say something about the opt-in funnel because this is where a lot of people are stuck. And they think, oh, I need to get my freebie built and for list building. And we're like, no, you don't want to do that. You want to have a system. You want to have a funnel in place. You do want people to come and download a report or some sort of traffic magnet that you create, but you immediately want to convert those people over into sales because you want to turn people into buyers as fast as possible. This course focuses on that. And we show you how to take something that a done-for-you product, a private label rights product, and turn it into this thing pretty quickly that you can create a funnel with. You don't pay the $97 for that. So if you look at it, we've got the MyNAMS Insiders Club, $997, the 12 weeks to building a better business, $997, the sales funnel leverage, $197, the creating your brand with Photoshop, the opt-in funnel creation course, each $97, $23.85 Not going to pay that. So I want to say something about the causes of failure. A lot of folks fail when they're building their business because of these reasons. You don't know your why, you don't know your core values, you don't have a vision for what you want your business to be, you don't have any kind of guiding principles in your business and in your life. I mean, to me, business is one leg of your life. You've got 4 or 5 other areas of your life, like your health and your relationship. And I know that you know this, Jim, that the health is so important to maintaining a healthy overall and happy life, not business, but life.
Yep.
And so you've got to have the ability to see your future state, and you have to have an execution plan. We have something called Camp Clarity. It's 6 modules, 10 parts, focuses on business, relationships, health, well-being, and money, and how to build those areas so that they work for you all the time from your own personal integrity. To me, this is the first thing people have to do. We look at the core values, the vision worksheet, your only statement, your guiding principles, your asset inventory, your current state, your dumping ground. I love the dumping ground, throwing stuff out that doesn't work anymore in all areas of your life. Sometimes that's friends who are way too negative. Your future state, what's that look like? Your execution plan and mapping your progress. We help you with that. So basically what we do is we call this our decision matrix, with the core values, guiding principles, future state, and vision, making a barrier around your why. This is your big why here. Making a barrier around that so that everything that you let into your life is a hell yes. And I know that you do this. Everything you let in is a hell yes. And if it doesn't fit with those areas, it's a hell no. So we show you exactly how to do that in this system. That's Camp Clarity. $497 on the site, discounted to $297 occasionally. So we're going to add that in here at $297, $26.82. You don't pay that. So I promised even more special here, and this is only available on the webinars. The only thing that you got to have to be really successful, other than knowing your why, is the ability to drive traffic and conversions. And so what we've done is create a traffic and conversion summit where we actually get people in the system to listen to people who are experts at different areas of traffic. And we've got these folks teaching you all about driving and converting traffic. Alex Mendozian, Paul Taubman, Karen Thaxton, Kathy Demers, Dr. Ellen Britt, Connie Reagan Green, Jeff Herring, Brian G. Johnson, Nicole Dean, Michelle Shane, Lou Bortone, Paul Evans, Paul Counts, me, Matt Basak, and Terry Dean. All of these folks are teaching you about the 3 areas of traffic: bought, borrowed, and bartered, and how they do what they do specifically to get folks into their systems with traffic and being able to convert them into buyers. That's $197. You're not going to pay that. So here we go. All of that comes down to $28.79. Insiders Club Annual, $997, 12 weeks, Sales Funnel Leverage, Creating Your Brand with Photoshop, Opt-in Funnel Creation Course, Camp Clarity, Traffic and Conversion Summit, $197, $28.79, not going to pay that. $297 annual. We're dropping the Insiders Club from $997 annual to $297 annual for you, and you get all of this in addition, so that you can start with Camp Clarity, understand your why first, jump into the 12 weeks if you're new into business, or if you're at a plateau in your business, so you can understand the 12 steps to building a better business with the training that we have there, and then use basically what we think is like we give you a library card to all the training that you need in our system, so that you can go do the research that you need on the topic that you need to move quickly through our system. And we feel like that these other training, the Sales Funnel Leverage, the Creating Your Brand with Photoshop, and the Opt-in Funnel Creation, are 3 areas that people need to focus on quickly to get their business up quickly. We want people to succeed fast. And that's why we put this training package together, Jim. So does that look good?
Sure, yeah.
All right. $297 is what that is. They go to nams.ws/JE-inside. JE-inside. nams.ws/JE-inside. We've got that in the chat box. If you just click on that, you're going to see this. So you'll come to the cart, make sure the quantity is 1, $2.97, and this lists out everything that you get immediate access to over here. Immediate access to all of this over here, all of these bonuses over here for $2.97. And you walk through the system, and it will be very painless to get that. You can use PayPal or credit card, and that's the link again, nams.ws/JE inside. Now, if there are questions, we'd love to answer any questions. And Jen, this is where you come on and tell me that we have any questions or not. Jen, are you still there?
I'm muted. No, we haven't had many questions. Everyone has just been patiently paying attention, it looks like. Nobody has asked much.
Good. If you have any questions, we got a little time here that we can answer, and I'm sure that Jim will jump in here and answer anything as well. So, Jim, do you have any comments about this?
No, I would just say, I mean, if you guys are looking for a step-by-step, hold you by the hand opportunity, this definitely looks like a great one, and I appreciate you giving everybody a special deal, and absolutely, you know that you get my full and total endorsement. So I think it's wonderful. Go for it.
Good.
You know, Jim, we just came back from a mastermind with our VIP coaching clients, and we were talking about this program, and the folks that we have in the group all came from our Insiders Club to start with. And one of the comments that were the conversations that we were having was that they were scared to not have their library card. And that's where that came from today, was our conversation today, that they were like, you know, if I know I need to do a little research or find something out, you know, I want to make sure my library card is active so I can just go to my digital library over there and find it. And instead of having to go dig through my hard drive of stuff I've, you know, think I bought, or go try to do the research online. And so we've been really talking to a lot of people here lately who have said that is what they find the most valuable here, is not that they have to do all the training and consume it all right this second, but instead know that it's here when you move to that spot in your business.
Yep, and that's a key to me as well. I think that's really important, to be able to go someplace and get what you need as quickly as you need it to answer the question that you need. So that's what we've tried to build.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you've done it.
Okay, Jim, I really appreciate you having us on today. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody did ask, how often are these updated? All this stuff.
Depends on the training. If it is, for example, we updated list building this year, about 3 months ago. As a matter of fact, we updated list building. We update the software pieces that we have all the time. The tutorials are updated.
All the tutorials have been updated in the past 4 months.
Yeah. So we try to keep stuff as updated as possible. And we're probably making another round through some of our training in the next year that is maybe 2 years old. There's some training in there that's about 2 years old.
So, and that's a great question, actually, because we don't teach but we teach strategy, and we teach a lot of conceptual ideas so that you can apply them across the board no matter what the technology changes are. Because who wants to have to learn a whole lot of stuff because you learned it all about a piece of technology that's out there and then not be able to apply it in other areas of your business?
Yeah, we don't teach anything that is tool specific. So if you're doing list building, we try not to talk about or demonstrate Aweber, for example, because that'll change in a heartbeat. So will PayPal, so will all the other stuff. But we talk about the tactic and strategy of actually what it takes to build a list and how to build that list, what the processes are. Because the processes, like you know from the evergreen side of things, the processes are what convert into any situation, and we give you the recipe with the processes so that you can adapt it to your system.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Cool. Well, I would encourage everybody, if you're interested in doing this, go ahead and do it. The price is amazingly low, and it's for a year-long access to some amazing training. I don't see why you wouldn't jump right on it. So do it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing with us.
Sure. Bye-bye.